So Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, chapter 122 is currently out, and first of all I have to say I apologize for not getting a chapter 121 review out. I did not expect it to get two chapters back to back in 2 separate weeks. I thought it was still bi-weekly at that point and the schedule didn't shift, so I didn't have time to make a review for that chapter, so I apologize for that. Even though I'm skipping over one chapter, this chapter is relatively fine. And I will try and keep doing my fairy tale content every 2 weeks whenever the chapters are released. So look forward to that. I do want to keep doing fairy tale here on the channel. But before I get into the actual review, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys enjoy the fairy tale content on the channel, and it motivates me to keep doing it. So without further ado, let's hit that intro and get right into the review. So before I get into chapter 122, let me just do a brief summary of what happened last chapter. Basically, Irene and Selene were talking about their goals and aspirations, and Irene ended up choosing to enchant herself with Selene's dragon wound, seemingly killing her and saving Selene's life. And Selene managed to kind of destroy Irene, but have her spirit reincarnate somewhere else, which just so happened to be Daedalus, and she basically became the daughter now of the Wendy Erza, which is weird, but it's fine, I don't mind it. It was a nice way to end off her character. I kind of wish we see a bit more of Irene before this send-off, but it's possible it was done just so Wendy wouldn't have too many broken abilities in the future if she began to learn all of Irene's different enchantments and spells. It's a pretty clever way to get rid of the character now that we had her spirit for about 100 chapters now. But yeah, let's get right into chapter 122 of Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, titled Apology. This chapter begins with Wendy sitting on a hill as the sun rises off from the distance, with Erza meeting up with her. Erza asks if there's something troubling her and if she didn't sleep well, but Wendy does kind of know everything that happened last night due to Irene basically telling her while she was asleep in a dream, so she knows that Irene is gone. Wendy then asks Erza what she thinks of Irene, and Erza kind of thinks about it and says that she was a sad person, and to tell her the truth, not a day goes by where she doesn't think of her. Erza clarifies saying that Master Makarov is the only person that she would ever call a parent, and that will never change. But ever since she met Irene and called herself her mother, Erza always imagined the future that she could have built with her. She thinks that it's wrong to think so, but Wendy just says it's not a wrong thing to do, stating that she herself has not even seen or known about her parents outside of Grandine, who was one who raised her, and they were like literally a little over 400 years ago was the last time she saw her, and she was just basically an infant. And before Wendy can finish her thought, if the possibility arose that she could see her biological parents, Erza then goes into super serious scary mode, saying that Irene was a scoundrel. She came and brought harm upon the guild, and that she's an enemy that she cannot forgive. But then she says, despite all that, the face that she showed in the end was tender and kind, giving Wendy a big wholesome smile on her face, knowing that it'd be nice if Irene could hear Erza talk about her like that. Wendy says that Irene is probably always watching over her, but Erza just says she doesn't need that because she will always be in her heart. So it's nice, despite, the whole thing about them being enemies, Erza still kind of views her mother as her mother and keeps her in her heart, saying that she might be an enemy and a miserable person, but she was still her mother, and she won't forget her for that. And Wendy then quietly thinks to herself and thanks Irene for everything she's done. We then come back to the Diablos guild as Natsu, of all people, is telling Laxus and Kirin to cut it out and stop fighting. The rivalry now between Kirin and Laxus is just hilarious. These two are literally acting like Natsu and Grey. Seeing Laxus have some type of rivalry or just butting heads with someone like this is just hilarious. And they're just literally having a contest on who was using less power in their fight and that they weren't even in full strength. Natsu tells them, look, what you're doing right now, this is exactly why I'm telling you to quit it. And Lucy was having the exact same reaction I had when I first read this line. But then Natsu says, because if you don't, I'm going to want to join you guys. And yeah, like, for a second I thought Natsu was going to have a bit of character growth and to know when to not get into dumb fights. But then again, that's what makes Natsu so fun. Which is kind of hilarious. It was a nice little interaction. But now, we cut back to some serious stuff, as Selene and Allyfun are beginning to talk. Allyfun begins the situation, basically asking Irene if she won't be killing any more people. And she says, as long as they don't try to harm her, then that's all there is to it. I won't harm humans. Allyfun confirms this, and Selene says, yeah, I just want to defend herself, as she basically just confirms everything she says with Misaki to say if she's said anything wrong. Allyfun says that, people do kill each other, and she has confirmed that it is true. It happens for various reasons. And Selene just says, I'll do what I can. Allyfun struggles back and just goes on to say, tell me about Viernus and Ignia. Tell me where they are, as Selene just says she doesn't know where they are. And Allyfun then begins to shout at her and just explode at her, saying, apologize for all the humans you've killed until now. Among them were my friends and precious comrades. And Selene just kind of has a cold look staring right at him, contemplating his whole outburst. But Allyfun says that he understands. He fully understands that there's no sense in asking for something like that. Selene did what she did to survive, just as the humans killed animals to survive. He understands that, but he can't forget his friends' faces that were killed by dragons. He knows that they were in the wrong, but he just simply can't forget it. Selene then gets up from her chair, stating that she will apologize, with Allyfun just saying, don't bother apologizing. If you apologize, before he finishes his thought, Selene just nonchalantly says, my bad. Shocking everybody in the room, because she was literally just so nonchalant about it, so casual about her apology of basically just her killing Allyfun's friends in self-defense. Even Misaki's like, you could have worded that a lot better, which is honestly a nice funny reaction. But then as Allyfun is just holding back his anger, getting his composure back, he cracks a smile and then he starts to laugh, as he then bows his head, asking Selene for an apology, stating that the humans have unreasonably stolen the lives of dragons, and in that sense, both him and Selene are in the wrong, stating that he is truly sorry. As everyone smiles and that we're finally getting to an understanding here, which is nice. And now to just caps it off being like, well, I guess the third Dragon God is officially sealed if that's the case. Selene is kind of confused, being like, didn't we kind of go over all this stuff in the bath the other day? Misaki says, no, we certainly did, but humans and dragons are definitely the same. Selene says that, yeah, we are the same, but getting along from now on, it's not impossible, but it is going to require a lot of speaking between the different parties in order to achieve coexistence. And Allyfun agrees. But he then begins to bring the discussion back to the other dragon gods, stating that Viernus and Ignia both remain threats. And not because they're dragons, but because their power is enough to destroy all humans. And now Selene brings up the information of the weapon that could basically pierce even dragon gods. And it is called Athena, which I am so happy that it is named after a Greek god. I love it. And Athena, yeah, it's a really good name for a weapon, considering that she is the goddess of wisdom and warfare in Greek mythology. So it's just nice that they named a weapon that can kill dragons after the Greek god of warfare. Now everyone's thinking this is probably the weapon that Ignia was talking about that was inside the information in Allyfun's heart. And Allyfun says that it's a weapon created by his late apprentice, but even he doesn't know where it is. Ganjo brings up the fact that this means that Athena is the only thing that can be the dragon god right now. And Lily says so, but could humans even make a device like that? Allyfun asks Selene where she got the information, but she says that she's visited countless worlds and worlds that were very similar to this one. Allyfun panics and saying there's more Athenas in all their worlds, but Selene drops another bombshell that in all the parallel worlds she's seen, Athena was lost in all of them except for the world they're in now. Allyfun says that this weapon is just a negative remnant of humanity, so it's probably like the Faces, where it was probably meant as a last resort but sealed away somewhere so it wouldn't be used for nefarious purposes. But Natsu gets ready for a fight, stating that who cares about all this stuff, we just gotta beat the other dragon gods. But Selene says no. The gold dragon god Viernus cannot be beaten down, because Viernus is apparently a concept, a dragon who exists yet also does not. with this piece of information ending the chapter. So while this chapter was nice in terms of like getting a bit of closure for Wendy with her and Irene's little like apprenticeship partnership or something, and Erza fully coming to terms with who Irene is despite not being able to forgive her, but thanking to the fact that she is her mother and it will always carry her in her heart. It was a nice wholesome moment that came full circle. Laxus and Kieran's whole rivalry still going on, mimicking Gray and Natsu's from the start of the series. I love it. It's hilarious, and I love seeing Laxus being super competitive. But the discussion between Selene and Elixir is really nice, and they're basically like managed to put everything on the table, talk things out, and I wouldn't say they forgave each other, but they accepted the lots they had in life, and they're willing to move past it and work together. And they want to find this new weapon called Athena, which is something that Elixir's apprentice made that could kill the dragons. That can pierce a dragon, a human-made weapon that can kill dragons, which is something that I don't think has ever been talked about in the series, because the only thing that can harm dragons are other dragons or dragon slayers. So that's a really interesting piece of information. And finally, some actual stuff about the gold dragon god Viernes, as apparently he's a concept and not a full-fledged being. So Fairy Tail is officially going to battle a creature that is not a physical manifested being and is just a concept. I'm not gonna lie, while this is a pretty cool reveal, I have to say Fairy Tail's power scaling is starting to get way out of hand and confusing, because while this is a neat idea, how are you gonna beat a concept? I mean, obvious thing is they weapon Athena, but I don't understand it. I feel we are going to get some more information, obviously, but I truly feel like this is just kind of weird and confusing for no reason. But I'm giving the series the benefit of the doubt, as I feel like Mashima is probably going somewhere with this. It's probably going to do something maybe fun and creative. But yeah, that was the chapter for Fairy Tail Hero's Quest. What did you guys think? What do you think about the information that we got about Athena and the Gold Dragon God Viernes? Now that Diablos and Fairy Tail are basically like unified in the 100-year quest to take down the other dragon gods. And also, what do you think Ignia is truly planning right now? And how do you think Viernes is going to play into all this and what their abilities are going to be? Leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comment section down below. And I just want to talk to you guys about this chapter even more. And once more, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys enjoy the Fairy Tail content on the channel. And it keeps me motivated to keep doing it more. But yeah, with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you all have an awesome day.